Oh man. Oh boy, oh boy. What a week. And we are live. Hello. Oh Christ, what happened to the screen? Oh dear. Give me 1 second, guys. I don't know what happened there. Swear to God, it was literally perfect a second ago. That's weird. Okay. Well, we will do some live maintenance here. Uh, oh God. I will just make this screen a little bit smaller. And the chat, what happened to the chat? Oh, you know what it is? It's Streamlabs. Uh, I had a Streamlab, or not a Streamlabs update, hold on, let me shut off the stream in the background. Yeah, OBS had an update for me today, and it must be a little glitchy. That's cool. That's great. That's so cool. Anyways, let's shrink this bad boy down. Super professional. It's okay. It gives people more time to funnel in. That was weird. Everything just doubled in size right when I went live. Okay. All right. Note to self. Check out what the hell that was. Everything is fine. Okay. All right. Welcome to VKH Live. I am your host, Jeff DeWitt. Hello, chat. Hello, Gula. Yeah, so today we are talking about all the tours. So many tours. I've been cranking out articles all week on them. In between, just a crazy busy week for me. Maybe I'll rant about that, give any other people a little bit of time to funnel in a little bit here. I'm going to be asking you guys in the chat, even if it's just you, Gula, because every viewer of VKH Live matters to me. Although personally, patrons get a special status, like Gula. You have elite status with me. But the official policy is every viewer matters to VKH Live. Yeah. We want to hear what you guys think about these. These are all JRock related. I know we tend to specialize in Visual K, but we do cover JRock as well. But we like to cover JRock that is adjacent to, well, not adjacent to, but like JRock that our viewers and readers and listeners all enjoy. So I'll be very interested to see, because a lot of these are very household names. And I'm curious. I haven't checked in with our readers and their preferences and their tastes. I have a little bit of a idea on some of them, but curious to see if anyone, like, how interested people are in each of these tours, these world tours, since they'll be coming to your country. Also, if there's any other upcoming tours you would like us to talk about. I'm starting with these just because we put out a lot of articles on them, or we put out articles on these, and we're very curious in seeing what everybody's initial reaction to these is. But if you have any others, including Visual K, whether it's J-Rock, J-Metal, we can talk a little bit about Western bands at the end, or not. Let me know. This is a tour stream. Awesome tour stream. Hell week for you too. Yeah, very crazy week. That's actually why the stream is a little bit delayed. We normally do 8 o'clock every Saturday. Had to push it back to 9:30 to give me a little bit of time. I was very sleepless work week for me personally. Ended up sleeping a lot last night at the demand of my body, but I am at full operating capacity now. Have the stream running, have everything going. I have my choice protein of the stream with me. I guess this is becoming a meme now, but I upgraded to steak. I leveled up. I cooked steak in the oven. I've been eating steak all evening. It is energizing me. I feel like I have some sort of organic equivalent of super male vitality. I'm feeling great. For context, for people who are just watching, I've been having a lot of protein next to me, whether it's bacon or burgers or whatever the last few streams. So that's where this weirdness is coming from. But and it's not just because I'm randomly picking protein. I'm actually on a carnivore related diet, trying to kill some chronic allergies I've had all my life. Got a hot tip. Maybe this might help. Maybe it won't, but I feel pretty good so far. I'm about 30 days casually into it, trying to get a little bit more hardcore, hence the steak. You did good. Oh, thanks. Oh, OMG, that looks delicious. You did good. Awesome. Yeah, it tastes pretty good. So I'm feeling pretty good. And yeah, Jeff's just weird. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, definitely a little weird. So last week I had a bunch of announcements at the beginning of the stream. I've decided I'm just going to move that to the after hours streams. I'm going to try and do those weekly as well. I'm going to have it sometime tomorrow afternoon. If anyone's interested in joining live, or if not, look for the upload after that stream, in a couple of maybe an hour or two after the stream. So we'll go through announcements there. Long story short, everything I announced last week is still on as promised. These tour articles were one of those things. Things were just unfortunately a little delayed because crazy hell week. And everyone had a hell week because every time, and I know this because every time I broke to Twitter, to just distract myself, the whole world was doing worse than I thought I was. So yeah, consider these streams your escape back into JRock and Visual K, and so we just want to talk about that. Let's just talk about that. So yeah, with all that out of the way. Let's jump into these world tours. So lots of world tours going on, been announced recently. So first one is Scandal. Do you guys remember Scandal? The world-renowned at this point Scandal. They have announced a new tour. It's called Special Thanks, and it's going to be. Among other places, I believe, what is particularly of interest to us is the international dates, which are, let me see how far I can zoom in. All right, so we have September 5th, PlayStation Theater, New York. That was where the Gazette performed. I've been there. That was a really cool place. So that's a big deal theater. That's where a lot of these bands seem to go. It's a good venue. It's a dope venue. I like the venue. September 7th, The Regency in San Francisco. September 9th, House of Blues in Anaheim, California. September 12th, Esquena, Monterrey, Mexico. They're dipping into Mexico for a little bit. It's gonna be exciting. Shout out to our readers and viewers from Mexico, by the way. Muchas gracias para todo de los clicks. You guys do a great job in supporting us. All of our Central American readers. We have much love for you guys. So yeah, September 14th in El Plaza Condesa, Mexico City, the Ciudad de Mexico. And then September 16th at the Bomb Factory in Dallas, Texas, another popular tour stop for a lot of Japanese bands, a lot of bands in general. So for those of you who don't know about Scandal. They are a big deal. I would classify them as a big deal. They are a all girl group. They were basically like the girl group, as far as I know, that really coined or started or like was the inaugural band that started the trend of all girl J rock bands, pop rock bands, coming out of Japan. Their major debut, like I said here, was back in 2008. I personally know them. I think a lot of people found out about them through, I believe this is a Bleach opening. It's called Shoujo S. They make lots of anime opening music. A lot of their music is used for anime openings. And Shoujo S, if you're drawing a blank, that was them all in the school uniforms, and they're all playing and singing. It's a very poppy jamming song, and there's like switching back and forth between them playing in the rain and them playing in the sunshine. It was quite popular over here from what I remember. I think that's the main way I found out about it. So me personally, I that was the first interaction I had with Scandal. Found the entire band absolutely charming, the song very catchy, and but then unfortunately I fell off with my coverage of them personally, like in terms of how much I'd been following them. Unfortunately, a lot of their I believe Shoujo S as a PD is available on their channel, but a lot of their stuff since then has been limited to Japan. If you want to buy their stuff, like I have listed here for their latest album, which we'll talk about in a second, you do have to go through CD Japan. So hopefully after this tour, something similar might happen to them as like what's happened to other bands like the Gazette and LMC even Acme, with Chisa coming to an anime convention. A lot of these artists, they come to the US, they see how much their fans love them, and then they're all of a sudden, when you see them go back to Japan, you see this extra push to like reach out to the international fans. So whatever you guys are doing at these lives, I've been to some of them. I've missed some of the others. You're doing a good job. You're representing the fandoms of these bands very well. They all seem to be wholly impressed with your energy at the lives. I keep seeing that in interviews. So keep it up. All these concerts you go to and stuff like that. I have zero advice for you guys as you go to see these bands other than be yourselves, apparently, because you guys are doing a great job. So, but yeah, so their latest album that they put out was earlier this year on Valentine's Day. It was called Honey. There is a trailer that they have available for it. I listened through it. I'd be curious to see what people think of the sounds of these bands. So if you guys are interested, I do have a link to the that live stream article that I just put up. It's in the description. And then that has links to all of these articles that I'm going to be going through. So you can go in and you can take a listen to these trailers and or these PVs and see what's up with all the sounds. So personally, I would say their current music isn't entirely my style, but I know a lot of people whose style this would be. This is up their alley. It's kind of J-pop meets J-rock. Annie song kind of a jam. It seems to be that way for the whole album. It was fairly diverse throughout, from what I could gather from the trailer. If there's enough interest, we may just get a hold of the album, give a quick review for it, or anything like that. But what do you guys think about Scandal? You guys have any thoughts on Scandal? If it's just cool in the chat, that's cool. Cool. You can just give all the opinions. But let me just double check, make sure the chat's synced up properly. Yeah. This past week was gruesome. We all share the same pain. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so let me know. And if you're viewing this in the future, because I did announce this a little bit last minute this week, you're going to see a ton of streams announced ahead of time for next weekend. So don't worry, you'll get plenty of advance notice. It's just this week was a busy week. And but yeah, if you're viewing this in the future, feel free to let us know in the comments. I respond to the comments and stuff like that. So I don't really follow them, unfortunately, but I'll probably give them a listen. Yeah, that was kind of my initial. That's been my status as well. So, but I know people are very. There are going to be people that are very excited about this because there are some very dedicated Scandal fans, especially in the anime scene, just because they've been very prominent. So I don't have a ton to go into in terms of, unfortunately, in terms of their music as a result of that. My apologies. Like I said, my initial impressions of the album is it's not quite for me. I think if I sat through it and listened to it and played it casually, it could be for me. I do that with top 40 music and pop music personally. So, but it's nice, solid ear candy. If you listen to them, by the way, you'll see where a lot of the newer bands that are more available internationally are actually getting their influence from. A lot of it comes from Scandal. Like I would say Bandmate is like a hard rock is a hard rock band. They're an all girl group band, and they're all dressed in like maid outfits and stuff, but don't let that fool you. They're a pretty hard rock band, all things considered. And they've been quite popular. I would say there is a bit of Scandal influence from them and from others. So if this is your first time hearing about this band, even if it doesn't seem like your style, I would recommend just checking out at least their older stuff. Definitely Shoujo S, because it is very they played a very transformative role in terms of J-rock groups making anime music and like the formula for female fronted bands, all female bands. I think a lot of the bands that have come since then that are in a similar structure, I think Scandal gets a lot of credit for being able to normalize that. So it's very good, very, very important band, at least in the industry at the very least, even if it's not quite your style. But it could absolutely be your style because they are very, very popular among a lot of people from what I've seen. So I will circle back to them if they're and maybe do another stream at some point if there's enough interest in Scandal. So please let me know. Next up, a band I do know a lot about, so we can spend a bit of time on this, is ALEXANDROS. So ALEXANDROS has announced their first U.S. tour. They also, just as a quick update on their most recent activities, their latest single, Mosquito Bite, was put out as a, it was put out as a single, obviously, but it was used, both tracks on the single were used in the Bleach movie, which is the movie that had Miyavi in it playing Byakuya. It premiered last month in July, and this single came out shortly before the movie did, I believe. ALEXANDROS is a great band. I would recommend ALEXANDROS strongly. They are, some of you might know them as Champagne. They started out initially named Champagne. Unfortunately, a few years back, due to like a crazy copyright thing, France went crazy in terms of just claiming everything to do with champagne as a copyright. So the French government, literally. So they actually had to change their name, which kind of sucked. It seemed like it would have sucked from my perspective, but it didn't seem to slow them down whatsoever because the next album that they put out, like their first one that they put out as ALEXANDROS, like it broke the Oricon top 10, I think. And they've just really ascended from indie, from being popular in the indie scene to being popular in the mainstream. They kind of fall in that vein of indie sounding alt rock bands from Japan that go on to become like major bands and like majorly successful. So they start with indie rock, and then they keep that sound, but then they grow into other sounds like general alt rock, some pop rock, and some anime opening friendly music. But like they do it very well in that they mix it all together. They mix it up constantly. They do some really interesting experimentation with a little bit of EDM and a little bit of like pop sounds from what I've heard over the course of their career. They're very talented individuals regardless. I've been following them since the late part of their indie phase, and been watching them kind of ascend to like more mainstream notoriety. And all things considered, I think they've done a really good job in terms of adapting and growing into being a mainstream powerhouse, but keeping their core sound, but being very clearly open to all kinds of interesting experimentation. I want to talk a little bit about their latest music. So the last two singles that they put out, with the latest one being this one, Mosquito Bite, they have started upon a trend that I may actually do a separate stream about. Not just covering Japanese bands, but definitely including them, because they are doing this, and that's really good. But there's a trend happening worldwide right now where rock music seems to be making a push to break back into the mainstream. And that's very exciting, but they're doing it in very interesting ways. So a lot of the common threads that I'm seeing for bands like ALEXANDROS, LMC, which I recently reviewed their album, and their latest album is phenomenal, by the way. Other bands like non-Japanese bands like 21 Pilots, Bring Me the Horizon with the single that they just put out seems to be going this direction. They're all doing this thing where they're mixing, different sounds on top of this core rock sound that is featuring this really nicely distorted guitar. These distorted guitar riffs. If you've ever listened to Royal Blood from the UK, that's kind of the general sound that you'll hear. Royal Blood is a two-piece band, and they're very talented, and the vocalist is also the bassist, and he plays using a heavily distorted bass, and he plays a lot of very well assembled riffs in his songs, in the songs that he writes, and you can't tell where if you're listening to it, you can't tell where the guitar sound ends and the bass sound begins, but the plot twist is it's all a bass and it's all him playing, and then it's just a drummer. But the distortion that he uses, the specific pitch, it kind of seems like it's like, he can distort his bass up to sound like a guitar, and then down to sound like a really, nice bass. But it's this certain level of distortion that they kind of were like, I don't know if they pioneered it, but they were definitely like some of the ones that first achieved like some real success with it. Now a lot of bands seem to be coming at it from the other direction. The guitars are being distorted down a little bit, to where they're filling the role of both a bass and a guitar. So you get, and the distortion changes as appropriate. You get like guitar solos where it's still very distorted, but you obviously know the high pitch notes, it's a guitar. But when you're playing these lower riffs, it's almost like a guitar and a bass melted together. ALEXANDROS is doing it with both, because they have a guitarist and a bassist. And if you listen to their newest single, Mosquito Bite, you can kind of hear, and also the previous single, which was, I want to say it was called, it wasn't called, what was it called? I want to say it was called Cockroach. This is the one where I first heard it, because this was a big shift for ALEXANDROS, because they were playing around in that nice mainstream area, and they'd been doing it for a while, where they were just doing a really good job like keeping their identity while experimenting with like pop music and electronic music, and then shifting back to cool rock stuff at the same time. But this is like a definite shift into the future, where it's like this harder distortion that seems to just play really well even with like pop fans and stuff like that. Let me see what the name of that first single was that they did. Kabuto. So their music videos are all available on YouTube if you'd like to check them out. But they started this with Kabuto, which I believe came out in May, and then they've continued it with Mosquito Bite. Yeah, so it's this interesting sound. It seems to be the future of rock music. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out for a lot of bands. ALEXANDROS is hitting it spot on so far. Muse is another band that's experimented with this kind of sound on their 2015 album Drones, which won a Grammy. They experimented. They used it as a baseline to. They might have been like the most substantially successful case predating this current trend, or what I see is like starting to become a current trend, where they had the distorted guitar as the bass, distorted guitar and distorted bass as the bass line for their songs, and then mixing in other elements from other genres on top. So, so this is a really good direction they're going, and so the reason I like talk about all this is that they are touring the US with this. So I actually expect that the sound that they're going to push, in addition to their other music, which I would say would still be fairly exotic for a lot of American music listeners, but this latest sound is going to like hit like really well, especially because it's coming around the time that the new 21 Pilots album is dropping, which is going to take the world by storm. 21 Pilots is doing something similar. They are really leaning into their distortion. It almost sounds like the bwah sound of like the movies, like the dramatic movie trailers, but like in guitar form. Really renewed my interest in 21 Pilots. So I think this is going to be a really popular sound at the time. Bring Me the Horizons album will be coming out shortly after that, so they just put out their single teasing that album. They're pushing a similar sound. They have a bit of a grittier distortion, but they're cleanly mixing in a lot of different other sounds in their song style as well. So like US fans are going to be like primed for US music fans are going to be like primed for the kind of sound that ALEXANDROS is bringing. And ALEXANDROS is bringing it, I would say, from a more indie rock perspective. At their very core, they play around with a lot of mainstream sounds, but they always have retained this indie rock sound at heart. So it was a very natural shift for them. I very much approved. It was very mwah to hear. But yeah, so this will be a very interesting tour. They might make a lot of friends, even though it's their first time in the U.S. They might get a lot of fans. They might make a lot of friends. They also sing all in English. They sing quite well. So Canton Hall in Dallas, Texas, Scout Bar in Houston, Texas, Diamond Ballroom in Oklahoma City, U Street Music Hall in Washington, D.C., and Gramercy Theater in New York. This is going to be very exciting. I think they're good. I think they stand a really good chance of gaining a lot of new fans. I think the most out of all of the bands that are going to be touring here, believe it or not, even though they're not the biggest band that we're going to talk about out of these four and then whatever other ones you guys want to talk about. They're going to be, they really stand a chance. I would if I'm backing a band out of this group, I'm backing ALEXANDROS for like US success, to be like completely frank. They seem to really know what's up in terms of their ability to experiment and make music, but keep this indie rock sound and their indie rock flavor that they have and personality as a band, and also the experimentation that they do specifically seems to be the most appealing to like a Westerner. If I imagine myself as like my friends that just listen to Western music, this would be the band that's like, ooh, like, what is this? This is interesting. So, so let's see what's chat saying about all this goodness. I once again do not know this band. I'm slacking. No worries. We'll be covering them more, so it's a little bit easier. We're trying to work in more coverage of J-Rock bands, but we're trying to be picky and selective, because we know a lot of our reader base and viewer base is into Visual K. And so we want to pick bands that you guys like as well. So if you have any non-Visual K bands that you would like us to cover, more in the future, please let us know, because that's kind of where the priority is. I would say ALEXANDROS is very good as a VK adjacent sound because they experiment with so much pop and EDM with their rock music. Let's see. I love ALEXANDROS. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. What else we got? We've got some more people in the chat now. Welcome everyone. Let's see. Never tried ALEXANDROS. I'll have to listen to them. Too bad they aren't coming to Colorado. Yeah, it's very short. It's a very short stop. But it's they're hitting all the big spots. I think this is good. If this was all the stops that they could afford to do, I think this is sufficient. If they make a strong impact, it may actually the shortage of concerts and then the quality of music and then their music being abundantly available on music streaming services and YouTube in music video form, I think is going to do them a lot of favors. It may work it may play to their advantage. So we'll definitely see. I think the only non-VK band I like is Cold Rain. Yeah, well, we like to cover Cold Rain as well. So, yeah, I actually, we were going to cover, we covered Cold Rain at when they came to Warped Tour. I actually covered them, but unfortunately we never were able to release the interview or the live report. And that was a couple years ago. Unfortunately, due to scheduling issues, I had to go inactive at the time and all that. But we may release it. Maybe we'll release it from our vault. I know that's something we promised for our patrons. So maybe we'll do that. But I got to talk to the vocalist, and he's a very cool guy. Had some intelligent things to say, but about his music. So let's see. Tay, I would like you to cover this band. Okay, yeah. Is that you? Would you like us to cover Cold Rain? Yeah, you got it. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll definitely do that. By the way, speaking of, Tay is a musical group. I see. All right, I've got it in my browser. I will check it out after the stream. You got it. Yeah, I would love to see the interview. All right, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I will dig into it when I have time. We have certain things in our vault that I don't think are relevant for our website anymore, unless we put them as back posts. So we may just release them through our Patreon feed or something like that. That was one of our promises. I'm trying to decide and work out a lot of that. So I'll be syncing with Winona and kind of figuring that out, because we have various things that ended up getting unreleased, but may be of interest to people. So yeah, I'll get back to you guys about that for sure. But back to ALEXANDROS real quick. So one piece of constructive criticism I wanted to give you the band is they just need a little bit of work on their English lyrics. Just a little bit. Largely they're pretty solid, but every now and then there's one where it's a little bit it's a little bit off. Let me see if I can pull this up. This one's just like kind of charming. I mean, it's not like it's bad or anything like that. It's just like it just kind of made me crack up personally. But every now and then it's a little bit of just a lyrical thing that is perfectly grammatically correct English and stuff like that, but it's just just a little bit amusing, So let's see, how does this song start off? I was just a little boy, smelled a little like soy. This cracked me up. I enjoyed this personally. Maybe I shouldn't ask them to improve on that. But the reason I brought it up is that it's like Americans are a little bit harsh in terms of English language lyrics, even if it's a foreign band. So it's always nice to try and get your lyrics in as tip-top shape as possible. Just because, it's, we know to be like, come on, it's whatever. And Gula just said in the chat, look, man, even Western bands have awkward English lyrics, and it's absolutely true. But to be fair, there's plenty of us that laugh at those as well. Don't tell me you guys haven't listened to some of the trap music that's come out and been a little bit critical of it. I see tweets and things like that, But we are not that harsh. Yes, I agree. We allowed 303 to be a thing. Yeah, we did, but we allowed it as a meme. I don't want this band to be a meme necessarily. They're very memeable. They do like goofy pranks or goofy things at the ends of their music videos and stuff. They could be a meme. Actually, yeah, fuck it. Let them be a meme. They go over very well as a meme. But if they want to improve and stuff, maybe they can get referred to Bring Me the Horizon, because believe it or not, speaking of a band that's had awkward lyrics in the past, or just like very caveman lyrics, I would say. This latest single they put out was fairly intelligent. What's the word? Is it verbose? It's not verbose. It's like, they as they've like transitioned from deathcore to metalcore to new metal to now like this. I don't know if is it alt rock at this point. Their lyrics have actually like increased in complexity, but there's a few parts where I'd say they'd flop too. So they're going through a similar thing. They're maybe out a little bit further ahead in terms of like growing in that area. So maybe I would want to hook up Alexandros with Bring Me the Horizon and like have those two bands like hang out together, because they seem to be coming to like a similar sound but from opposite directions. Or just very different directions. Alexander's coming from the indie rock. Bring Me the Horizon started like with deathcore, metalcore, new metal. Now they're getting to that point. And then you got 21 Pilots, which is, again, like they're coming to this distorted sound, but they've been doing like their own, like whatever you call the music they've been making in the past. And then, there's other bands that have been doing this. Like LMC is another one that's approaching this sound. If there's I know there's some LMC fans in the chat. You guys are probably very fluent with their album at this point. The sound I'm talking about is the sound that they use in Door. That is the sound, that kind of guitar distortion. So, and you saw how they were able to really like, layer on some cool like effects that weren't too like extra. So but there was a lot of them in there on top of the the guitar sounds, and it just like made this beautiful song, right? So that's what's going on with Alexandros. That's what's going on with all these other bands. Man with a Mission is another band that's been like on a steady evolution to get to this point. They've probably been one of the bigger bands as well. It's been pushing this sound for a while, but if you listen to like some of their latest music, like 2045, there's a music video for that. You can hear like this nice distortion, and it's happening everywhere. It's happening all over the world now, because I've listed 21 Pilots is from Australia, Muse, who's been on this for a while, and they've maybe moved on to a more popular sound, but they won a Grammy with the sound I'm describing now. They won a Grammy in 2015 with it. They're UK band, and now you've got all these bands in Japan. Bring Me the Horizons from the UK. Oh man, I don't know if there's any bands from America that have actually gotten woke on this. So I'm trying to think. There has to be. I could have sworn I heard one. Am I forgetting one? Do we still have a dead rock scene here in the States? God damn it. Well, at least these bands are coming here. So that's good. Maybe people can listen to it. It just hit me that it's like, yeah, none of these bands I just went over are actually from America, but they're all like coming to America. So, did you just say 21 Pilots came from Australia? They're from Ohio. My bad. I'm thinking of a different band. All right, there you go. 21 Pilots. He has an Australian accent though, doesn't he? I don't know. I it is singing with Australia. I don't know why. I do listen to certain Australian bands, so sorry about that. Yeah. All right. Is Ohio America still? Is it still a thing? This is still okay. All right. Then we'll count it, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Look, I did a lot of research for the Japanese bands. I'm shooting off the top of the dome for any non-Japanese bands. So, Jeff, go back to get to bed. No, it's not even that. It's I'm just wrong. I'm just wrong. That's all this is. But anyway, yeah. So, I think we spent enough time on that. You can. This is another fun thing about this. So, first of all, their music's on streaming, so if you want to check out Mosquito Bite, it's a solid song. All their music's solid, to be quite frank with you. And all their music's on streaming services. But here we go. You can get it on CD Japan if you get the limited edition. It comes with a special bonus. The special bonus, and it's only while supplies last, is a mosquito aroma band, which is a citronella scented wristband that repels insects. So, like, again, I guess that further underscores that this band is like ready to be a meme already. They joke around, they goof around all the time. So, best rock band in the States right now is Palais Royale. I'll have to check them out. I've heard someone plugged them to me the other day, or I saw it in the YouTube comments. I personally did like Palisades. The music that they were putting out, Issues. They're more on the metal side or the post-hardcore side. So, but yeah. Also, well, I won't lump them in yet. There's some metal bands that are going this distortion route as well, but it's not quite the same because metal still has that exclusionarily like heavy sound to it, even if you distort stuff. I'm skeptical as to how much mainstream success can be found that way. But the band that I did notice that's doing that here in the States, at least from their latest single that they just put out, which is it's a lot to process, but it's pretty solid, is Falling in Reverse. Put out a single. It's doing a lot of that. So there's a lot of fusion now between a lot of these bands are like they're like progressing into the future with this like distortion that they're like realizing it's like I can mix this with anything. Falling in Reverse, the verses are like he's rapping like Eminem raps in Rap God. Maybe not as well. Pretty damn well. Like surprisingly well. So like, these, and then like, Bring Me the Horizon has like a trap style bridge, where it's just everything goes kind of ambient. You hear like certain like trap noises and stuff like that going on in the background. I would either trap or like that dance hall kind of chill sound very briefly before it jumps back into like the rock chorus. So all kinds of wild sounds going on with bands like this. So in conclusion, ALEXANDROS is woke on what's going on there. They know what's up. They know what's good, what's hot, what's hip. They're good at doing it, and they're good at making stuff. They're good at being themselves about it. And this is a really good time for them to tour. So I would definitely, I would highly recommend checking them out. If you are in Dallas, Houston, Oklahoma City, Washington, D.C., or New York, I I would definitely recommend checking it out. I may fly out and see him. I will have to see though. Um, so yeah, uh, the best pre-order bonus ever. Oh yeah, yeah, it's pretty great. So okay, and the last tour is actually two bands. So SPYAIR and ROOKiEZ is Punked are going to tour the Americas and Europe together. So this is very exciting. They both announced world tours for context, and what's actually going on is they are separate world tours, but for their stop in North, Central, and South America, and then over in Europe, they're going to be doing performances together. So I think technically ROOKiEZ is Punked is opening for SPYAIR. I believe that's the way this is going. Maybe it's a double header, 2-man. It's kind of hard to tell from the exact details, but I would assume since SPYAIR has been around for like a really long time, and ROOKiEZ is Punked has picked up a ton of steam, but is still not quite as big. But at the same time, it could very easily be because ROOKiEZ is Punked has, like, from what I've seen, like they really picked up steam. Yeah, so ROOKiEZ is Punked. A lot of the LMC fans, when I asked some of you guys in a while back what other bands you were into, I saw a lot of LMC fans chiming in with ROOKiEZ is Punked. So get hyped for this, man. So let's look at let's look at the tour dates, and then we'll jump into SPYAIR and then ROOKiEZ is Punked for anyone who's not familiar. So the main one, which is I'm excited because there's a good chance I'll be able to catch this. Not confirming anything, but just gonna like drop that there for a second. But so September 22nd and 23rd, they're playing at Anime Weekend Atlanta, and that Miyavi's also performing there. Bunch of other people are performing there. Winona will be there. I believe Rhubarb will be there from Fake Star. Let's pull up Anime Weekend. That's shaping up to be. This might be the like surprise anime convention of the year for us as J-Rock and Visual K fans. Based on like the performance from certain anime conventions this year, it's been a little underwhelming for a few of them. Or just like not maybe there's even some where it's like they performed just fine, but just didn't have a lineup of people that were of particular interest. So we can take a look at their full guest list, their full event list. I should do. And again, I do have links to all of these, or I have a link to an article that links to all of these articles that I'm going through on screen, in the description. So if you click on that, you click on any of those 3 articles, it's going to have links to all of the tour dates for you guys. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, so we have SPYAIR, we have Elisa someone I know? I'm pretty bad when it comes to Annie-song artists. I'm gonna have to do a ton of research, but I will be doing a ton of research and streaming about it prior to this. So ROOKiEZ is Punked, Miyavi, Star Marie, an idol group, Team 4-Star, the creators of Dragon Ball Z Abridged. That's gonna be fun. For anyone that's into their stuff. Listen Flavor, which is a fashion brand. So this is I believe this is a Fake Star will be there. I'm trying to see who else. Yeah. Wait, what am I saying? Yes, Fake Star is going to be there. I've been told about this. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm super out of it in terms of trying to remember everything today, apparently. Jeez. But yeah, so this is going to be a big convention, it turns out, Yeah, gonna be cool. Um, Other dates: Diamond Ballroom, Oklahoma City, Gramercy Theater, again, New York, Regency Ballroom, San Francisco, Houston at the White Oak Music Hall, Canton Hall in Dallas, USA, and then Sala Puebla in Mexico City, Mexico, Teatro Teleton in Santiago, Chile, Audio Club in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Oh boy, here we go. Here's some pronunciation. Let's see. Club Quadrat in Krakow, Poland. Is that Colossal or Colossal in Frankfurt, Germany? I'm not saying that. I can't. And then the Underworld in London, UK, and Casino de Paris in Paris, France. So, and then afterwards they're going to separate and perform their own concerts for the Asia legs of their tour. So that's going to be they're just going to have various dates in Japan and South Korea and I think Hong Kong for both of them, and Taipei, Taiwan, and SPYAIR is making a few stops in China as well. So, both of these bands, if you're not familiar, very, very big deal anime bands. SPYAIR's music has been, let's start with SPYAIR. SPYAIR's music has been used most recently. They've just been like very successful in general as a band. There's a good chance you guys have heard of them. They're a very popular alternative rock band. Very mainstream, friendly sound. I'm not the person to comment on their sound and style personally. It is like it's a little too much for me. At least from what I'm hearing with I Wanna Be and some of the other PV clips that were on there, but I can see how it's popular. I can see, how people are into it. I believe, what did I write here? I wrote, so like their last 4 albums have reached the top 10 in Oricon each time. 3 of them actually broke the top 5. So they're a big deal, and I think a lot of people watching this know that, but but they've been very tied up with the is it Gintama or Gintama anime franchise. Multiple exactly 5 tracks have been used in their have been used by that anime series, like across multiple different seasons and like a movie I think as well. Surprise pronunciation test when the teacher's away playing video games. You gotta pay attention, Gula. That means I get an automatic A, Lauren, that's why they sounded familiar. So actually their limited edition is of their latest single, which is I Wanna Be is it comes with like a Gintama. I'm calling it Gintama because I see Gin, I think Gintama anime series. It comes with a cool cover, and all of the tracks that they have for that have been used by that series, including an anime-sized version of I Wanna Be, which I believe is like the specific portion of the track or the specific edit of the track that they use in the actual anime intro for specific anime fans. That just want to hear the intro of their favorite anime whenever they want, and like the exact intro. Definitely check that out, that limited edition, if you're into this anime, if you're into this band. And their music's all available on streaming as well. So ROOKiEZ is Punk though. They're pretty cool. I like ROOKiEZ is Punk. They're very happy, very upbeat, but they keep it energetic enough to keep someone like me interested in them. Let me see if I can find Yeah, so and they had like a big burst onto the scene. I wrote about it here actually. So their debut single was in 2010. It was called Complication, and it hit number one in downloadable tracks, and made it almost in the top 10 on the Oricon weekly ranking. I just included that tidbit because like that's like damn, like just jumping right into this on the success train, but it was actually used as an anime intro for, I believe, Durarara. So, but they've had openings for multiple anime series. The ones that I found were Durarara, Blue Exorcist, and Yowamushi Pedal. So if you're a fan of any of those anime, then you probably recognize their music. They have some PVs available. Most of SPYAIR's PVs are clips, and then the full PVs are on their full physical singles, I guess, or maybe some digital singles. But some of their music is available, of SPYAIR's music, just circling back to SPYAIR for a second, is available on streaming services. I can look up real quick. For SPYAIR, I don't remember off the top of my head. Okay, yeah, not a lot. At least not on Spotify, which I happen to have open. So, but I Wanna Be is, and a 2014 single is. ROOKiEZ is Punked, meanwhile, their latest single is also available on streaming, but they are about to drop a new album. It's going to be called The Sun Also Rises, and it's going to have 3 tracks on it, I believe, that were used in the Yowamushi Pedal anime, and were released previously as singles. So this is what the limited edition looks like. And this is coming out on September 12th, I believe. Is that what it was? What did I have? Yeah, September 12th. So, yeah, man, definitely pre-order that if you're into them, or you want to take a listen to their sound and you like what you're hearing and stuff. But these guys all have. I think I Wanna Be came out. When did I Wanna Be come out? The end of last month, yeah. So I Wanna Be was recently released, and then for ROOKiEZ is Punked, The Sun Also Rises is coming out on the 12th. So these guys are they're both touring for like right fresh off of new releases. So that's always good, like touring, like, right after your new album comes out and you're dropping a world tour on us. That's pretty dope, man. Excuse me. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. I see Blue Exorcist with blue hearts in the chat. I give you an A this time. Yeah, de facto A. Sweet. But yeah, so I have plans to dig more into ROOKiEZ is Punked. I will give SPYAIR more of a chance as well, because I believe there's some songs that they put out where they do some more experimental stuff that would be more my jam than just the more mainstream friendly singles that they have out. It's just not my taste personally. It's a lot of people's taste though. I thought it was interesting. They said that they were influenced by Korn, Linkin Park, and Michael Jackson in the past. So that's what you're getting into. So I want to see some of the edgier parts of that. Some of the edgier parts of that. I highlighted Linkin Park as edgy, but it's not. It wasn't quite edgy. It hasn't quite been edgy for a few years, I guess. But Korn's been bringing the heat for a while. Yeah. So that's about that in terms of all the tours that we had that I had to cover that we just recently announced. If anyone in chat has any upcoming tours anywhere in the world that you would like you would like to discuss, feel free. Seems like a bit of overall unfamiliarity, which is totally fine, but sounds like I made some of you interested in some of the music. So yeah, definitely check it out. And we'll be covering these bands since they are coming to tour the U.S. And we'll be learning more about these, or I'll be learning more about these. I won't speak for we at VKH because I know there are other people that know a lot more about certain ones of these bands than I do. Although I would say I'm pretty caught up on Alexandros. Alexandros is the one that I personally that I can like kind of come from and be like, yeah. Yeah, let me tell you what's up about this dank and woke and fun band Alexandros. But and then I'm getting into ROOKiEZ Punked as well. So I'm going to circle back and try and check out a little bit more Scandal and try and check out a little bit more SPYAIR. And because there's a lot of hype about him, so got to see what the hype's all about. Give them another chance. Since I've only been casually like paying attention to them personally. But yeah, world tours galore. That's about it. The only other thing that I could really talk about that I had off the top of my head is Miyavi is also going to be at that anime weekend in Atlanta. That's going to be really exciting. I think the last, and actually it was the first and only time I saw Miyavi, and he was like my ultra favorite artist at the time. This was way back, like way back, like in 2011. And he was on the What's My Name World Tour. He came to Orlando, Florida. I drove 3 hours from my dorm to go see him. And met him. I'd gotten the VIP ticket, and it was a great experience back in the day. So I'll be curious to see what it's like now. He's bigger. He's even bigger than he was before. His style's changed drastically. Kind of headed much more into the pop realm than I ever would have anticipated. But then again, I can't say I'm hugely surprised because even back then in 2011 when he was doing his rock thing, he'd already done so many different styles that it's like, yeah, the next album is just, all I can tell you is that it's going to be a Miyavi album and God knows what the sound's going to be. And like everybody, a few albums after What's My Name, I think everybody that like wasn't about that like kind of stopped listening, and everybody that was like, yeah, this is what it is. It's always something new. You never know what you're going to get. That's like his main fan base at this point, I think. So kind of similar to I've seen a bit of crossover in fandoms of like 21 Pilots and Miyavi, by the way, because 21 Pilots is like on a much larger scale gotten very popular, and just been perpetually changing their style as well. So and they've both gotten a bit popular at the same time, and they both lost a bit of fans as well. Because I mean, my sister, I found out about 21 Pilots. Sorry to bring up this non J-rock band, but the parallels here are getting pretty crazy as we move to like the more mainstream friendly bands that are like getting into the States. I would argue sometimes that the more popular J-rock bands do their thing better than like the US version, but that's just me. A little biased maybe, but maybe you agree. But yeah, so it's a lot of like open mind. Like you have to have like a really open mind if you're gonna be like a fan of Miyavi at this point, like a real like a serious fan, or as opposed to like, oh, I'm just listening, seeing what crazy stuff he's coming up with, and similar thing for 21 Pilots as well. So personally, whoops, sorry about that. Personally, I listen to a lot of pop music, a lot of EDM music, a lot of trap music even. So I have picked up on every single aspect of him experimenting with all those genres, and it's been thoroughly interesting to watch and vet and kind of view it from the lens of both a J-rock fan and also as a EDM what's the word? an appreciator of the electronic dance music. Maybe that's the way to say it. I do live in Miami. You know, I live in EDM, so we are all biased here, Jeff. Yeah. We all have bias down here. Let's hold my red balloon. I'd love to see Miyavi as well. I really like his work. Yeah, so I mean, and I've watched his, whatever DVDs I've been able to buy, whatever live stream performances he's done, I've tried to see, because his performances change so drastically, like his style on every single performance almost, it seems like sometimes. And so if you want to stop being surprised by every new album or every new single that's totally different, start following his live activities and like seeing as much of what he puts out from his most recent live shows as possible. And he's very open about it. He's not like hiding and packaging it and, putting it behind a paywall. To be quite frank with you, he's posting stuff from social media all the time. He lets people film him at his concerts, like all kinds of stuff. So you can, and sometimes he puts it out himself. He does live stream performances, fairly regularly. And then he also does he'll also include like some, polished up live footage, that they've like gotten some really nice sound quality on. He'll put it on like a DVD and put it out with like maybe a CD or something, so, but if you follow that, you'll see you'll see the transition. You can see it from neo-visualism all the way back in 2007 to What's My Name. You can see the transition. You can see the transition from What's My Name to I guess what was next, Samurai Sessions. You can see where like all of the experimentation was coming from, and that was his first crossover into EDM was with Yuksek with Day One. With that collaboration, and then you can see how he liked that. He liked what he did there, and you can see his shift towards dance music, in his performances all the way up to his 2013 self-titled album. And then you see him keep going, and you see him, and he's cast in Unbroken, the movie, and he starts meeting like all these like famous people and doing performances there, and he's doing simpler songs and kind of mastering like the pop song structure, but in like a rock style. So he's kind of got like this simple look and simple song structures that you hear in the others, that still works quite well. Wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but none of them are, to be quite frankly. But it's the kind of thing that you can bust out at, say, a casting after party, with Angelina Jolie. There's YouTube footage of that out there where they just have him performing like some of his music, and it's in a very reductive style, but it works. I was like, man, he's getting to a point where you could just like jump up in a club and with a guitar and be good to go, which is interesting. And then he leaned into that with Firebird. He got messy with it. You can see it in the lives. He's messy in the lives. He got messy with his experimentation, and he got ambitious, and he tried a bunch of cool stuff, and had a bunch of interesting, diverse sounds, and got my respect a little bit in terms of some of the stuff he did with trap music. I was quite impressed, and then he did Samurai Sessions Volume 2. And so my point is, in rambling about this, is that if you follow his lives, you can see exactly what's going on with them. But if you like to be surprised, it's like, don't do that, just like be surprised. But yeah, so I've actually missed, for myself, I'm in the second category. I haven't been following his live performances too much over the last, maybe since he put out Samurai Sessions Volume 2. I've seen occasional stuff. I've seen his guitar covers or guitar solos that he does to, top 40 music. He'll put out little Instagram videos on social media as he plays along to rap music. Saw the awesome collab he had with 88 Rising, covering Post Malone and Camila Cabela. Yeah. But outside of that, I haven't seen a ton of his like performances and stuff. But apparently, these singles he's been putting out is stuff he's been playing at shows and stuff before putting them out. Like So On It and The World Mix of Long Nights that had In Crowd on it, which is a personal favorite of Winona and mine from earlier this summer, or back in the spring, I guess, at this point. But yeah, will definitely be exciting to see him, exciting to see ROOKiEZ, exciting, for anybody that goes. So yeah, I think with that, we've been going quite a bit. Got a lot of tours in, man. Got a lot of coverage. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and call it a night here. Thanks for watching. If this is your first time watching, make sure you subscribe for more cool coverage, and check out VKH-press.com for our full news website of news, reviews, and interviews and podcasts, and all of our live streams are embedded there as well, so you can check those out, or you can check them out through our YouTube channel. Hit the like button if you liked this stream. Leave a comment if you're seeing this in the future and you got something to say. Let us know. We want to hear, and I will respond to you for sure. Keep an eye out for an announcement from us tomorrow. I'm going to do an after hours stream in the afternoon. Just kind of shoot the breeze a little bit, and maybe share some updates. I'm off to go write a bunch more articles, get a bunch more content together. Gonna have a lot more to talk about this next week, man. There's just a lot to discuss, and we want to get to it all. And keep an eye out for a stream schedule for next weekend. That's all I'll say for now. But oh boy, man, we're wrapping up August. I've mentioned some of them in the past, so some of you guys are waiting for them, and they're still coming, and there's more coming too. And oh boy, that's all I gotta say. All right, guys, and with that, was fun. Thanks for the stream. Good night. Thanks for the stream. No problem. Thanks for showing up in chat. Thanks for sharing your opinions. Thank you for showing up so last minute. Like I said, keep an eye out for a schedule so you guys so more people, can if you would humble us by clearing your schedule for future streams, if we announce them ahead of time, that's amazing. So we're going to try it and see. We're going to let you know more in advance for the upcoming streams that we have more planned out for. With that, peace out, guys, and hope you have a great weekend. And if you had a long week, I hope this helped. But I think the after hour stream is going to be a bit of a rant stream. Maybe we can all vent together. We can vent, and then we can escape into J-Rock and Visual K. Because just the general pulse of the internet right now is wow, everything's upside down. and also everybody's life events seem to be getting really intense too, at work and stuff like that. I know that's at least in my social circle and stuff like that. So, but blessings upon you all, and best of luck with everything. And we will see you on the next VKH Live. Bye.